Hi, this is Ferre with the Tax Sale Secrets Weekly Update. I'm here with Stephen Swenson, and we are part of Tax Sale Support.
Yeah, exactly. Each Friday we like releasing a new video, a new training video, and also give you guys an idea of some of the upcoming auctions for the week.
Yeah, there's a lot of new sales that are taking place, so subscribe to this if you'd like to be able to get updated on any of the sales, because we generally try to update on any sales that are coming up here over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of some news and announcements.
As far as news, essentially we just have the workshop on the 14th.
Yeah, that's right. So on the 14th, we basically have the free online Saturday morning workshop that anybody can attend. If you'd like to register for that, you can use the links listed below in the description to attend that. That just basically is a webinar that we conduct. We cover different topics related to tax sale investing. It's a great thing for people that haven't joined yet and are still thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it gives a good chance to get familiar with tax lien and deed investing, get familiar with us. In addition with that, if you haven't already downloaded our ebook, you can go ahead and do that at Secrets of Tax Lien Investing. That'll be there in the link. And then, of course, if you're interested in working with us in our membership program, it's only $29 a month. Also comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and it's really a pretty good service. I would say it's the best value service you can find for the money.
Yeah, I think most of you, if you're watching these videos, you've probably already purchased a lot of other trainings before. We don't tend to be the first ones people pick. We tend to be the ones that the people go with after they've figured out, what not to go with. And so we've tried to make sure that, that everything we offer is full of value and information and content and the type of stuff that's actually going to help you towards it, because we know how it can be when you're trying to learn a new investment strategy like this, and we also know there are people out there spending a ton of money for training that's not really doing anything for them, and so we like to be able to offer an alternative to that. And part of that is with things like a 3-day boot camp. For a pretty affordable price, you can come and work with us for 3 days just by yourself. We can basically help you get your investing jump started if you want to start that way, or personal mentoring. We do a lot with the members that we work with, and have had a lot of success with them. So I think whatever your needs are, I think we can help you get started and help you invest.
Yeah, and in addition to training, our members also have access to all of our tax sale list, be that the auction list or over the counters or our online auction database. Whatever it is, they're going to have access to all of that, and part of that is the auction list. And so each week we like to go over some of the hot auctions coming up for the next week. This isn't all of the auctions that'll be happening, but we want to point out some of the hot ones. And so April 9th, there's going to be an online sale in Santa Rosa, California. Lake County, Ohio has a sale. Madison County, Indiana, and Taylor County, Florida. So there's, a bunch of different states that are going to be offering auctions. On the 10th, Charlotte County, Florida has an online sale, and also New Orleans, Louisiana is going to have a sale. So if you're interested in New Orleans or Louisiana real estate, you could definitely check that out. Lake County, Florida, and then also Pulaski County, Arkansas, Little Rock is going to be having a sale on April 10th.
I was going to say, Anchorage actually has their sales coming up here on the 11th for anybody that's interested in stuff out there in that area, as well as Palm Beach. I think the Palm Beach one is that an online auction?
Yeah, any of the ones that are underlined are going to be online, and the ones that aren't are going to be live auctions.
Yeah, so in addition to the online auction, we also have the Pinellas, Florida, and Fairfax, Virginia.
Yeah, exactly. So you see what there's some auctions happening in Virginia. In fact, there's a happening on the 12th on Virginia as well. Perry County, Arkansas, Miami, and Hillsborough on the 12th.
Yeah, and then we've got Lee County in Virginia as well the following day on the 13th. And that's followed by a couple of Florida sales, St. Lucie online auction and Santa Rosa online auction, as well as Nevada. Nye County, Nevada will also be starting their sale and a live auction in Collier, Florida.
Yeah, so that's at least give you an idea of some of the upcoming auctions. Today we want to talk about tax liens and some of the advantages of tax liens and why tax lien investing we feel is one of the very best investment strategies that you can possibly find.
Yeah, tax liens may seem like they are complicated, and certainly some aspects of it can be complicated. But I think if you break it down into simple terms, they're easy enough to understand. They're basically a legal claim that's placed against real estate, and it's when we're talking about tax liens, that lien is placed against the real estate by the governing tax authority, who happens to be the party collecting the property taxes. So you don't pay your property taxes, they'll place a lien for that amount against the property to make sure it gets paid. It basically prevents the property owner from being able to sell it, and ensures that they'll get their money eventually.
Yeah, exactly. And when people first get started with tax sale investing, they don't completely understand the difference between tax liens and tax deeds and redemption deeds. And so essentially what we're talking about here today is just tax lien investing. And like Shade said, it's a lien against the property that investors can purchase that guarantees them an interest rate and also gives them foreclosure rights.
Yeah, in fact, something else that is important to mention with tax liens is that tax liens are meant to redeem. And when you purchase them, that also should be your objective when you purchase. That's the way to purchase good tax liens. A good tax lien is generally the one that does redeem, because nobody wants to lose their property due to delinquent property taxes, and property taxes are generally not a large portion of what the property's value is. And so, in other words, normally property tax amounts don't get up high enough to where somebody would walk away from the property rather than finding a way to pay it. And so when you're buying tax liens, your objective generally is earning that high interest rate return safely. It's about being able to earn returns of 15 or 18% with your money secured by real estate. It's a safe way to make a good high rate of return.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And like Shade brings up, in addition to getting a high interest rate return, each tax lien certificate is also going to be given a redemption period. And so the redemption period is the time frame before the lien holder can foreclose on the property. So generally that's going to be about between 1 and 3 years. But that redemption date is going to start on the day of the sale. So once that tax lien has been issued, let's say we're talking about Florida, it's a 2-year redemption period. From the date of that sale, 2 years, once that sale has happened 2 years further, you can actually start the foreclosure process. That's what makes tax lien investing, such a great investment strategy. Is first of all, you're investing in a tax lien certificate that's been guaranteed and set up through state law. In addition to that, you're investing in a tax lien that has collateral that's worth far greater amount than the tax lien certificate. The property is actually acting as collateral for your investment, and that investment is a first position lien, which means it's the most important, essentially the most important lien against the property. It's the first one that's going to be paid off before anything else can be paid.
Yeah, in fact, the reason for that is that when counties foreclose on a property because of delinquent property taxes, the foreclosure they go through is called a judicial foreclosure. That's one that's done according to state law, and it's a powerful foreclosure. It will wipe out or extinguish any type of lien or claim against the property, with the exception of other government-based liens. So things like a mortgage, they get extinguished or no longer attached to the property in that judicial foreclosure process. With a tax lien, really, you're either going to get a check in the mail when the lien redeems that includes your original investment amount plus the interest rate that you earned, the interest you earned over that time period, or you will wait out the time period, the redemption period, and foreclose on the property. It's really going to end in one way or another, though. It either ends in redemption or foreclosure.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I guess we could just mention why it's more profitable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when it comes to tax lien investing, I really truly believe it's the safest and really the most profitable and the best investment out there. It's going to be better than stocks, bonds, mutual funds, traditional real estate. When it comes to investing in tax lien certificates, once you bought that tax lien, your work is done. You just just sit back and wait until that tax lien redeems. If it doesn't redeem, then of course you can go through the foreclosure process and take ownership. But there's really not a better investment strategy out there. I mean, you can invest in the stock market, it can go up and down. When you invest in a tax lien, you know exactly when you purchase that tax lien, exactly how much you're going to be earning per month, and also on a yearly basis, depending on when that property redeems or that lien redeems.
Yeah, in fact, just to reiterate the point, when banks and other large financial institutions choose investments, you have to take a look at what they're investing in. And when it comes to tax liens, I think they invest in tax liens for the great return that they earn, along with how simple and easy they are once they purchase. Basically, they don't have to do anything. They sit back and collect checks. Each one of these different investment strategies has its drawbacks. And especially right now, I think I saw some things on the news just today that were talking about the stock market, having a major drop today and tumbling, and how it was causing nerves. And that's one of the things that bothers me about a lot of different types of investment strategies, is that they are affected by the psychology of people. And I think people get nervous, they get fearful about different things, and suddenly a market can crash. It can change your money and your financial situation, and that's really not what we want in an investment. We don't want an investment that can drop like that over something as simple as fear, which is why we like tax liens, because, like Steve said before, they're based on state law. So the interest rate that you're earning is something that's established beforehand. You know what you're buying a lien against, and that lien is secured by the real estate. So it's really incredibly secure, much easier way to earn a high rate of return than really any other way. Even traditional real estate is a great investment, but when it comes to the rate of return that you can earn through liens, it's hard to beat.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about real estate, you're talking about doing deals, flipping property. You're talking about a lot of work. And so we want to go through and talk about some of the tax lien advantages. One of the advantages with tax liens is you have many different buying options. You can purchase tax liens at a live auction, through an online auction, and there's tons of counties that are coming online and taking their sales online every month. You can purchase them over the counter. We have literally hundreds of thousands of over-the-counter tax liens that are available on our over-the-counter list. In addition with that, you can also purchase tax liens on the secondary market. And that's one of the great things about tax liens, is there really is a huge amount of flexibility with the way that you can buy them.
Yeah, there is. There is a lot of flexibility, and each one of these methods have their own benefits and drawbacks. For instance, with over-the-counter investing, which is basically buying liens after the sale that didn't sell or back on the books, you automatically earn the maximum interest rate return. So that's one way that you can control what your rate of return is going to be on the properties you're looking at. Anything you buy over the counter is going to earn that maximum rate of return. Plus, it'll also have time into the redemption period taken away, because the redemption period starts on the date of the sale, whether the tax lien is purchased or not. So, there are powerful investment, and there are many ways that you can locate and find them.
Yeah, and with online auctions, there's opportunity to purchase tax liens where they didn't have over-the-counters before. Like New Jersey or certain places where they didn't really offer over-the-counters. Now you have the opportunity to participate in all of these different sales online. So like Shade said, between over-the-counter, online, and then of course live auctions, there's just a huge amount of opportunity to get started in investing.
Yeah, now when we are looking to buy tax liens, what kinds of tax liens do we want to buy? What makes a good tax lien? Well, we said before that tax liens are made to redeem. And what we're looking for when we look to buy tax liens is look to buy tax liens against properties that we believe are going to redeem. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to pick properties that have significant use and value. Things like a single-family home is a perfect example. It has a lot of use, has a lot of value. Somebody's not going to let that go to foreclosure because of some property taxes in most cases, and so they redeem. So we like to buy tax liens against things like single-family homes and condos.
Yeah, and in addition to structured properties, we have no fear in investing in tax liens on good land, good lots, really any type of property that has good value. When we look at a tax lien, we're looking at that lien amount versus the property value. We call it the lien to value ratio. And so when we're looking at these tax liens, we're looking at that lien versus the property value. And if it's a good, safe investment and the property has use and has value, then it's going to be a smart tax lien. I would rather earn 18% on a $100,000 lot than earn than bidding an auction and earned 6% on a $100,000 home.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's one of the reasons why you may be able to fit your particular preferences into this investment strategy. If you don't like to attend auctions, you can do it over the counter. If you like the auctions, that's an easy way to go, and you can do it online. Now, are there different types of tax liens that we avoid? Absolutely. It's certainly not the investment that you could just do without making a mistake. You can make mistakes when it comes to tax lien investing, and examples of that are some of the types of properties that we avoid. Properties that are useless land, things that are too small to be able to use, or have what's called a high roll-up, which Steve will explain a little bit what roll-up means.
Yeah, as far as the high roll-up, that's probably the number one risk that we look for in tax lien certificates. It's pretty easy to determine what is a useless piece of land, but what roll-up consists, or what it really means, is just the additional tax liens that are against the property. So if there's a tax lien from 2010 and 2011 and 2012, and you're purchasing the tax lien for 2013, there's going to be those other additional tax liens on the property. Now, why that's important is because when you go to foreclose on the property, you're going to have to pay off any of those other tax liens. So if we're looking at a $10,000 lot, and there's 6 or 7 tax liens, or 6 or 7 years worth of delinquent taxes that haven't been paid, and it ends up being $5,000, well, that bid to value ratio is 50% of the property's value. We're not going to want to invest into that tax lien certificate. And that's something that you'll come across as you're looking at over-the-counter list, or even a regular tax lien investing. That's something you'll always want to check to see what other additional taxes are owed, because if you foreclose on it, you're going to be in charge of paying those up.
Yeah, really, it kind of goes right along with what makes tax liens so secure. And that is that, you've got this first position lien against real property, and, that real property, that lien has to be paid for in order for the ownership to be transferred. In order to do anything with the property, you have to pay off the lien first. The same is true for the county. The county just can't suddenly take the property away to transfer title. The lien has to be removed, and the only way you can remove it is by paying it. And so if there are other liens, you just figured that if you're actually going to be able to foreclose on the property and take possession of it, those liens are going to have to be paid in order to do so. And so you want to account for that full amount whenever you're looking to buy liens against property. You want to make sure that it's something that you could foreclose on if it came to that.
Yeah, every tax lien, essentially, anytime you go to foreclose, you're going to have to be the owner, or you're going to have to pay off any of those other tax liens. And so if somebody goes to foreclose on a tax lien that you own, they're going to have to pay you off. So regardless of where you are in that foreclosure ladder, as far as, how many years and how many different liens are on there, whoever's going to be the one that forecloses is going to have to pay off the other lien holders. And become essentially and own all the tax liens on the property so they can foreclose. So that's the reason it's important.
Yeah, and for the investor like that, they pretty much can just sit back and collect a check in the mail, so they don't necessarily know anything about what's happening. They just suddenly get a check in the mail. So when you're looking to get started, you want to start investing. It's important to distinguish what it is that you're trying to achieve and what your objectives are, because really you have to decide that in the beginning so you can define which one you should go after. Tax liens generally work best for earning a high rate of return, but they can also be used to acquire property. They can work both ways. But what we'll often tell people is if property is what they're after, we'll often tell them to target tax deeds to begin with. Just because it's an easier way to bypass that. But this is an important question to ask yourself. It's also related to how much capital you're starting with. If you are starting out with $5,000, then you may not necessarily want to pursue tax liens if you're trying to take that $5,000 and turn it into a lot of working capital, because tax liens tend to be a long-term investment. It can redeem at any point during the redemption period, but that could be 2 years. And you don't want to sit on your money for 2 years if you're trying to build up your working capital quickly. You need some kind of a strategy that will enable you to buy these investments and sell them quickly for a quick profit. So it's important to know what your objectives are and where what your resources are, so that you know really what the best way is to begin and what you should be going after.
Yeah, most investors, like Shade said, are going to be investing for interest rate returns, and that's going to happen 95% of the time that you're investing in tax liens. And generally, if people are looking for acquiring property, then like Shade said, we're going to recommend, just looking at tax deeds. But there's certain situations, like in Nebraska, for example, or some of these other states, where you can't really purchase a tax deed. There's certain things you can do that'll increase your chances of getting ownership. So maybe you cut that down where you get one property in 8 properties instead of 1 in 10 or 1 in 12 or whatever it is. You have a higher chance by looking at those tax liens that maybe have additional roll up, where the roll up is higher, but it's still worth it. You're still picking up the property for 10 cents on the dollar or 15 cents on the dollar, or looking at tax liens that are over the counter. But for most investors, they're looking for that interest rate return.
Yeah. So if we were just to review exactly what you should take away from this with tax liens, it is that tax liens are a very safe investment, and they're safe because they utilize the property as collateral. So when the lien's placed against a property, nothing can happen to it until that lien is paid off, and they pay out a high interest rate return, when they redeem, which can range anywhere from about 12 to 25%, depending on where specifically you're investing. So it's a great way to earn a high rate of return safely.
Yeah, exactly. Another benefit is that you can invest, really throughout the country through live auctions, online auctions, or over-the-counter investing. There's a huge opportunity to get started. And like Shade said, regardless of how much money you're looking to spend, you can go out there and find good tax and certificates that are good, valuable investments for a couple $100.
Yeah, you don't have to spend very much to get started. I think we've mentioned before, but I think the first lien I bought was about $67, and I don't think Steve's first lien was much bigger.
Yeah, like 120 or something.
Mm-hmm. And you learn more about the investment really than the financial gains are worth. To be honest with you, just the experience alone is worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, the final idea is you're either going to get a high interest rate return, or if they don't pay you back, then you can actually foreclose on the property. And in those cases, when that does happen, you're usually hitting a big-time home run.
Yeah. If you have the chance to foreclose on a property, you'll be able to pick it up for a fraction of what it's worth. And that's really what it's all about. I think it's about earning a high interest rate return, and then, occasionally you'll be able to foreclose on those properties as well occasionally if you're buying enough liens.
Yeah, exactly. And so, as far as this training, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and go to our website, taxhelpsupport.com, Secrets of Tax Lien Investing. In addition to that, go ahead and subscribe and like as well if you enjoyed the video. We try not to monetize the video, so you guys don't have to worry about a bunch of ads, and so those likes really help us out as far as promoting our videos.
Yeah. So, definitely subscribe to us, like the video, and join us here next week as we produce another video, or join our membership.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see you out at the free workshop happening on the 14th.
See you then.